The meltdown at Fox continues as Vice President Kamala Harris continues to surge ahead of Donald Trump in the polls. Even Fox host Jesse Waters admitted live on air that his own mom is a big Vice President Kamala Harris fan, and his mom talks about joy all the time right now. Play this clip.
Kamala is not Joe Biden. And yes, Kamala's a woman. And there's excitement around that. You should see my mom. Suddenly she's a Kamala fanatic. Keeps talking about joy. Trump.
Yeah, Jesse, have you ever heard of the word joy before, and optimism and hope, or are you too busy with your culture wars trying to divide we the people? Then, of course, Fox had to kick into high gear on the propaganda as Donald Trump gave what may have been the most disastrous press conference in the history of press conferences yesterday. So here's Jesse Waters saying that Donald Trump's disastrous press conference was flawless. Here, play this clip.
This was a flawless press conference.
Here is Kayleigh McEnany saying that Trump did a great job at that press conference. No, he didn't. Here, play this clip.
Kayleigh, how do you think Trump did today at Mar-a-Lago?
I thought he did a great job, and here's why. They have a concerted pressure campaign on the Trump campaign, and it was brilliantly played. It began with J.D. Vance, top of the week, issuing a count up every day that Kamala didn't take questions. Then he took questions, J.D. Vance, 3 times in 24 hours. Then, as you noted, he walked over to Kamala's plane. And then came the closer, who you were just looking at. Donald J. Trump came in to hammer home the message. They began the day with Kamala's team telling Politico Playbook, we may not do an interview until Labor Day, until after Labor Day. We're getting out just the message we want. What's the payoff to taking questions? Well, the day ended with Kamala doing a gaggle, a solidified debate, and Kamala saying that she may do an interview before the end of the month, which is before Labor Day. The pressure campaign is working. Keep doing it. Get this woman off the teleprompter. That's the key to winning.
So talking to
one more time, here's Jesse Waters and Jason Miller talking about how great that disastrous Mar-a-Lago press conference was. Here, play this clip.
There was nothing after this press conference that got picked up and went viral by the mainstream media that they were like, gotcha, he said this, he said that, in a negative news cycle. It was flawless. It was a flawless performance.
Then Jesse Waters engages in just workplace harassment on live TV, and he goes to his co-host Harold Ford Jr. and pressures his black co-host to wear a white Dudes for Kamala Harris hat. And he says to Harold Ford Jr., you are white, right? You're white. Are you half? You're not going to mess up your hair. Look at it. Come on, Harold. Put the hat on. Here, play this clip.
I got white Dudes for Harris right here, and I'm not going to put it on for one reason. I don't want to mess up my hair, but 2, I'm not for Harris. So I'm going to give it to you. A white dude for Harris. You are white, right? You're white. Are you half?
I'll give it to my father-in-law.
Okay. You wear that. You wear that, Harold. I give this as a gift.
Thank you.
And you put it on your beautiful head.
I appreciate that. Red, white,
You
and
won't
blue.
wear it. So you're not a Harris supporter.
I am.
You're not going to mess up your hair. Look at it.
I'm a huge.
Come on, Harold. Put the hat
supporter.
on.
So yeah, now Fox just doing workplace harassment on live TV. I mean, what abhorrent behavior right there. By the way, I know Jesse Waters' mom, Ann, is a big fan of the MeidasTouch network, and she's previously talked about how Jesse Waters should not engage in this type of behavior. When Jesse Waters got the position and replaced Tucker Carlson, Ann warned her son Jesse about behaving just like this. Remember that, Jesse? Here, play this clip.
We have a very special guest on the line, a Democrat, my mom. Mom?
Hello there, Jesse.
Hello there, Mom. How have you enjoyed the show so far?
I have enjoyed the show. I want to say congratulations, honey bun. We are so proud of you and your accomplishments, and you've worked so hard. Now let's aim to have you keep your job. And to that end, I do have some suggestions.
Okay.
Do not tumble into any conspiracy rabbit holes. We do not want to lose you, and we want no lawsuits.
Okay.
In keeping, I have a list here. In keeping with the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm. We need you to be kind and respectful. You yourself mentioned that humble is a stretch, so I get that. Use your voice responsibly to promote conversation that maintains a narrative thread. There really has been enough Biden bashing, and the laptop is old. Perhaps you could suggest that your people take less interest, for example, in other people's bodies and talk about that.
And Ann, I don't know why he behaves like that. I think we both know that it's just an act, by him, but an evil act, because he's really hurting people's lives with that behavior. And it's really abhorrent that that's what he's done. But, it is what it is. Here is Laura Ingraham trying to change the topic and talk about marijuana. Here, play this clip.
Well, it starts with marijuana, but where does it go from there? Oregon was the first state to decriminalize it. Then they legalized it for recreational use. And then a few years later, they decriminalized hard drugs, cocaine, heroin, LSD, and even meth. How things look.
Okay, Laura. Here is Hannity saying that instead what we're getting is coverage, flattering coverage of Governor Walz. Here, play this clip.
The coverage of the National Guard and George W. Bush, their reporting was wrong. It looks like, based on them changing the website, everybody else has the story right, except the media won't cover it. Instead, what are we getting? Coverage from this, like from Politico. Quote, male politicians, they're usually terrible at dressing down, but Tim Walz is one of the few that can actually pull it off. And
then Fox puts together an entire montage of Vice President Kamala Harris talking about what's unburdened by what has been. And this is the montage that they've done. Play this clip.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Let us remain focused on what many of you have heard me say all the time. Let us remain focused on what can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
By the way, it's actually a beautiful message that acknowledges the past while imagining a better future. More from Hannity having a freak out on live TV. Here he is going after the fact that Vice President Kamala Harris was giggling and grinning ear to ear. Play this clip.
The rest of the day, she's hiding in the equivalent of Joe Biden's basement, and they're covering for her like they did for Biden in 2020. And yet, for some reason, grinning from ear to ear. And when she has the moment, giggling and announcing today that she just loves hard work, loves it. Look.
The one thing about all of us is we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. The thing that we like about hard work is we have fun doing hard work. Because we know what we stand for.
Yeah, you see, these people just don't like happiness. And they don't like joy. Sean Hannity said he's never felt more threatened in his life than right now. Play this clip.
I've never felt that much danger as we feel now.
Then you have on these Fox guests on Laura Ingraham saying that Kamala Harris doesn't know any policy. Play this clip.
He can't draw a crowd, but look, Donald Trump needs to keep being Donald Trump. Go out there and talk about the policy, talk about the economy, talk about world events, talk about safety and security. That's his bread and butter. Kamala Harris's problem is she's Kamala Harris. She doesn't know policy. She doesn't have driving principles.
Again, you have Jesse Waters acting like a wannabe fascist clown, saying that, Trump was very disciplined during that press conference. He didn't take the bait. Here, play this clip.
Trump didn't take the Willie Brown bait. That's disciplined. He was asked again about Kamala's racial heritage. Didn't take the bait. Disciplined. He was asked about abortion. Disciplined. The press finally did get under his skin, of course, when they asked about crowd sizes.
And you have Jeanine Pirro on Fox trying to swift boat Governor Walz. That's, I guess, how they're spending their time, trying to attack someone who served 24 years in the military. Play the clip.
You know, the truth is that Walz says he earned the rank of Command Sergeant Major, which is the highest enlisted rank, Greg. But he served as Command Sergeant Major, but he didn't stay in that role long enough to keep that title when he retired. So he lied about that. I mean, that is an out-and-out lie, and it matters to a lot of people.
Yeah, it does.
But you're not going to take away Governor Walz' joy. You see him right there with the UAW smiling. Let me just take a look, though. So, Jesse, you thought that Donald Trump's press conference was flawless, like when he said that Vice President Kamala Harris turned black? Like, you thought that was very disciplined? Here, play the clip.
Mr. President, Kamala Harris's father is Jamaican American, and she went to a historically black college. How is she only recently deciding to be black?
Well, you'll have to ask her that question because she's the one that said it. I didn't say it. So you'll have to ask her. And I very much appreciate that question, but you'll have to ask her. But I've known her for a long time. I actually contributed to her campaign a long time ago because I was a developer. I contributed to lots of campaigns of Democrats, Republicans, and some were liberal and some were conservative. But you'll have to ask her about that. But to me, it doesn't matter. But to her, from her standpoint, I think it's very disrespectful to both, really. Whether it's Indian or black, I think it's very disrespectful to both. To me, it doesn't matter.
Or when Donald Trump bragged about the size of the crowd at the insurrection and said that more people were there than MLK, that's discipline to you? Here, play the clip.
Never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken. I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people. If not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000 and he had 1 million people. And I'm okay with it because I liked Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah.
No, you see these MAGA Republicans are living in their own echo chamber, their own delusional world. And by the way, here's just a short that we created at the MeidasTouch Network called The Weird GOP. And I think it's right now, it's very fitting because all they want to do is divide us with these culture wars and pit us against each other. But just take a look at the type of coverage that they've been engaging in for the past, well, forever. But we focused on just even what's happened over the past few years. Here, play this clip.
Problem is they are a weird political party.
M&Ms will not be satisfied until every last cartoon character is deeply unappealing, until the moment you wouldn't want to have a drink with any one of them.
These 26 QAnon people.
Q is a patriot. QAnon believers lined up on the grassy knoll. It's the site of the JFK assassination. They believed that the president's late son, JFK Jr., would miraculously appear and that he would help Donald Trump take back power.
I want to talk about the real pandemic, child sex trafficking. By putting masks on these kids' face, you guys support sex trafficking.
Have you been a good little Nazi? That's not necessarily the extreme. I mean, these are people that talk about testicle tanning.
Testicle tanning.
It's testicle tanning.
Half the viewers right now are like, what? That's testicle tanning? That's crazy. But my view is, okay, testosterone levels crash and nobody says anything about it. That's crazy.
By and large, a large part of the Republican Party is just out and out weird.
Then all of a sudden you get invited to, like, oh, hey, we're going to have kind of a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy.
You got a lot of really crazy people.
The frontrunners of the Ohio Republican Senate race got into a heated fight. When do we invade Australia and free an oppressed people?
In Florida, the state education department rejected more than 50 math textbooks for promoting critical race theory.
The Democrats are the party of princess predators from Disney.
Disney stepping in saying, you know, in every episode now they're going to have Mickey and Pluto going at it. Like, really?
No more Disney World! DeSantis land!
The antidote that we've seen now is
You're right there.
Satan's controlling the church.
Calling gingerbread men a gingerbread person when obviously they're men.
Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head.
Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss.
Wind. They say the noise causes cancer.
So absolutely normal. Yep.
They're really like odd ducks.
Because what they should be focusing on is Donald Trump's cognitive decline, because it was very easy to predict how disastrous the Mar-a-Lago event was going to be. Here's our video on Donald Trump's cognitive decline. You may have seen this short. Play this clip.
And my stupid people, when I wanted to refute it, they said, sir, don't dignify it with a rebuttal.
Have you been noticing peculiar behavior recently in someone you know?
Carried out by rape.
Someone who mixes fiction and reality?
The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man.
Perhaps someone of advanced age you have known for years.
Did you just see Maduro, Venezuela? It's unbelievable, Venezuela.
Of course, we all have our goofs. But consistently odd behavior can be a sign of frontotemporal dementia, a degenerative disease of the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain that dramatically impairs cognitive function. And there are some key signs to look out for, like slurring words.
The failing New York Times by anonymous, really anonymous.
Struggling to find the correct words is another sign.
The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges of the investigation.
You may also notice someone veering into incoherent ideas, detached from reality.
You know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Or an inability to complete simple sentences.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Other notable symptoms include impaired motor function, such as a wavering limb, and decreased balance, often accompanied by a signature lean or arched stance. If someone you know is demonstrating several or all of these symptoms, they are seriously unwell. As a matter of safety, they must be relieved of critical responsibilities and disqualified from any position of authority. Remember, frontotemporal dementia is a degenerative disease. Cognitive function will never return and will only deteriorate further. Don't ignore the signs.
Finally, if you haven't seen it, here's the video we produced at the MeidasTouch Network called Hillbilly Felony, how a man with no convictions, J.D. Vance, met a man with 34 felony convictions in Donald Trump, coming to a theater near you. Play the clip.
I didn't vote for Trump. The people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids at home.
The vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact.
I didn't come from the elites.
He was a nobody.
J.D. Vance, author of Hillbilly Elegy.
He came from nothing.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
You said idiot if you voted for him.
I didn't vote for Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter.
Might be America's Hitler.
An idiot and a moral disaster.
You got to respect the American people enough to just level with him.
But wanted to stand for something.
I didn't think he was going to be a good president, Brett. He was a great president.
Himself.
You know, Senator, this is an evolution.
All of a sudden, he decided not only isn't Trump noxious and reprehensible, he's now the greatest president of his lifetime.
JD is kissing my ass. He wants my support.
From the party with no platform.
I'm a never Trump guy.
He's the best president of my lifetime.
A man with no convictions.
Donald J. Trump guilty on all counts.
And a man with 34 convictions.
I did absolutely nothing wrong.
In a story about freedom.
It was meant to be, at least a little bit.
Okay.
Freedom to rig elections.
Give votes to all children in this country, but let's give control over those votes to the parents of those children.
The freedom to be racist.
Now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
And the freedom to control women.
Roe versus Wade is an abomination. We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
The people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids at all.
If you don't have as much of an investment in the future of this country, maybe you shouldn't get nearly the same voice.
J.D. Vance also thinks stepmoms aren't really moms. Women should be staying in marriages even if they're violent marriages.
These swing voters do not like him, and they do think he's weird.
No, we're not weird people. We're actually just the opposite.
From the directors of 2 fake charities.
We've always had a good chemistry. JP, right? J.D. Mandel.
It's hillbilly felony.
I love you guys.
Well, anyway, tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers. You think we can get there in August together? Picking up 15,000 new subscribers every day. So spread the word about this network. Hit subscribe. Let's get there together. Have a good one.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.